company, right?
Call the meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the August 13th.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to the August 13th, 2025 meeting of the Budget Advisory Board for the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bills?
Here.
Ms. Bowker? Here. Mr. Keel?
Here.
Mr. Camerata?
I'm here.
Mr. DiGiacomo? Ms. Johnson? Ms. Mulroy? Here. Mr. Stel?
Yep.
Mr. Sherman?
Here. We have a forum, thank you. First order of business would be the approval of last meeting minute for July 16th.
They're all nice.
Okay. Motion introduced.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting minutes are approved. Is there anyone signed up for public comment from the floor?
No one has signed up.
Okay, seeing none, we'll keep moving on. Before we get in, there is an old business, so before we go to new business, I would like to call on Ben Rogers to make an introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chair. I'd like to introduce Brad Kane, who's our new Public Works Director. He's been on board for about two or three weeks. Almost a month now.
Tough job.
He's hailing or coming from Miami Beach, and has a lot of experience here in Broward. So I don't know if you want to say a few words, Brad.
No, I just thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Ben. Pleasure to meet all of you. This is my first obviously Budget Advisory Board meeting. I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to working with all of you. A lot of challenges ahead, but I think with the with the right leadership in place now, I think we're going to do a lot of great things going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. City Manager, are there any other announcements that you have or staff?
Since Brad was introduced, we don't have our IT director here yet. He's on his way, we'll have mechanisms, so maybe when he joins us, we can find some opportunity for him to be introduced, that would be great.
Okay, very good, thank you. Moving along then under new business. The last meeting we had asked for a summary of the community input from the Balancing Act. Laura, I think you will do the introduction. I'm just going to handle that.
Absolutely, thank you, Chair. Last meeting you talked about the Balancing Act and how it was a public engagement available for folks who have not attended in-person Budget Advisory Board meetings or perhaps aren't available to attend the workshops. So Michael Dudley is a Principal Budget Management Analyst with the Office of Management and Budget. I'd like to introduce him to make a presentation tonight. He's responsible for a lot of our public engagement aspects that we do through the Office of Management and Budget, and he'll share about some of the results and a little bit more about Balancing Act.
To be clear, just a question if you don't mind.
Yes.
It's a tool that is accessible to the public, to residents, right? And so I saw an announcement after our last meeting sent from Stratcom thing about it. So you're gonna talk about how many residents engage with that tool?
Absolutely, and we did send the presentation along with the backup information, but Michael's going to be reviewing that with you. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's get into it. We're looking at the proposed fiscal year 2026 general fund balancing act results. All right, so really what is Balancing Act? So it's an online budget simulation tool designed to help governments engage citizens in the budget process. It allows users to explore the complexities of city government by creating their own budgets, allocating resources, and experiencing the trade-offs involved in balancing revenues and expenses. Balancing Act aims to educate the public about government finances and gather valuable feedback on their budget priorities. Alright, so I'm going to pull up the website now to give you a little sneak peek of what it looks like. Okay, so we have this rule. this tool, we have all of our revenues that are in the proposed budget. On the right side, we have all of our expenses. So looking at revenue, this is an example case. Let's say we want to increase property taxes. And our view in property taxes should be going up. So we're gonna take a little bit more here to increase. Also, our own thing we did that fire suspension. Now, let's say I want to submit this as is, like just flip the revenues between property taxes and fire assessment. Try to do that, it won't let you. So you have to be able to provide a balanced budget before you can submit. And you have to either reduce your revenue or expense to make it like.
Does the model tell that to the user?
When you try to submit and it's
It's
not
not.
in balance, it's gonna not let you.
I know, but does it give a clue as to why and try again by doing this or that?
Yes, there's a pop-up box that will let you know that you're not in balance and that you have to be balanced before submission.
Does it give you some insight or hints
It says it.
as to where? Look,
Um,
it's a message error, I understand
Yes.
what it is. It's not the question I'm asking. Some people might not know why it's not authorized, and if you really wanna give freedom and education to users, maybe a hint as to
Reduce
try
expenses.
doing that or try doing this might help you balance your act.
That's good feedback. We can add a note in there that says, please reduce expenses or increase revenues to balance your budget.
I missed last meeting, this was all in last, this is where it comes from, this whole thing?
But there was a reference quickly at the last meeting, and I think that's why we decided it was a good idea to have this presentation. Because very few people
And this is
have
available to the
noticed.
public to play with?
Yeah.
It's been for a long time.
Whoever uses it,
I
Do
know.
you read emails?
We'll get
I
into
do, but-
statistics.
Michael will share with you how many.
You slide on that.
You don't remember?
It was.
I do, vaguely, I don't remember anybody using it.
Charmaine
Yeah.
sent an email 2 weeks ago, and
I
that's
was on
how I
vacation.
discovered there was a tool, and I found it amazing, and it was posted on the city's website, and I played with it, and I think we all say, wow, that's a great tool, we should publicize it, and we should use it, especially as BAB members, we should know better.
Were we the main submitters?
That's my,
Okay.
it's like, I like this to let the public see it, where the money is, but. Okay, I got it.
And we're gonna get into the presentation, it's been around for 7 years, this particular program. And we asked for some, what we wanna know, what were some of the comments and feedback, and we'll get into that in the presentation.
Okay.
And then the board did suggest board members to have the council of civic associations send it out to the membership last night at the membership general membership meeting, a presentation similar to this was made. And Stratcom has sent that, his message sent out several times.
It should be noted, the same thing happened 3-4 years ago.
Correct.
Meaning that it went out to all the
So I'm
associations and all that stuff.
I'm a person that goes into this tool and I figure out a beautiful way to do something different. What do I do with that information? There's a submit button.
It'll have comments in there, but
You can add your notes.
put comments in it, and then those staff will see the comments. So let's go to the president, see the two of them.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, so right now I've made some changes and I'm deficit by almost $20,000. And so now you're looking on the right side of all your expenses, what can I reduce to make this balance budget? In each category, each of these have a little information. So you can find out what's going on in each department. City manager's office, kind of click around, find your information, learn about what's going on in the city. Everything in here is, everything in this tool is actually in the proposed budget, so it's all real information. In this case, I'm looking at the community service department and the chief economic officer. Currently it's funded, I'm thinking maybe it shouldn't, so I could, right? And now, here,
Balanced budget.
balance budget. when we don't submit, we ask you for where district you live, your email address, and then you're submitting.
Who gets that email?
It goes to Balancing Act, and we have behind the scenes information that we have.
I'll wait for statistics to ask questions.
And one of the things that Michael didn't show before he hit submit is as you're defunding or enhancing funding to certain activities, there's an opportunity to add a comment. So there's a comment box on the side that says, you know, if you wanna say, I love economic development, this is absolutely where we should be investing. And we saw some of those comments. You can also add those comments, and all of that information is captured and compiled with each submission.
How many submissions we got?
Beginning there.
Oh, sorry.
I almost feel like this should be like an annual massive campaign at some point during the year so that we could get as much as we can, as quickly as we can, within a certain amount of time frame, and then be able to compile all that information rather than sporadically wondering when one's coming or not. But again, I'll wait for the statistics.
And they can't, the tool's creative, but they can't input the data until we have a proposed budget July first. So the window is only from July first to September.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so you have a 2-month window.
Perfect.
Let him complete.
Alright. So, looking at the statistics that we've gotten so far, this is as of August 4th, last Monday. At 1,350 page views of the tool.
Since last Monday?
No, since we went live in
Okay.
July.
Thank you. From the beginning, 7 years ago.
No.
No, that's for this year.
Is about a month.
This is in July, okay, that's what I'm trying to understand. How far is it? 1 month, 2 months?
1,350 page views, 102 hours of total engagement time on the site, and we got 26 completed submissions. And even this morning I checked, and the numbers have gone up. We have about, I want to say 1,600 page views, about 117 hours of engagement, and we got 36 submissions.
Really cool.
So the Balancing Act really, it makes complex
It's not being solicited.
accessible. It's
not being
available
pushed,
for people to see, touch, and look, and make good decisions. It encourages financial transparency. Everything, like I said, on the tool is real information. You can only submit a balanced budget or a surplus budget. You can't have more expenses than revenues. You have to have a balanced budget.
In the past, has your team or anybody used the data that came in from a resident saying, wow, that's phenomenal?
Yes,
Yeah, so we look similar to what we do when we get public input at public hearings or at workshops. We refine that data, we share it back with the commission, and then if there's something that we're hearing from the community as a whole, I think 2 years ago, sidewalks were a big deal, and so the input's typically the same as what you hear in person and online. So we'll compile that data, we'll take it back to the commission, and then the city manager may recommend modifications to the budget if the recommendations aren't already included in the budget based on that feedback. But at public hearings, we don't get a lot of people who show up for input there either, unless a not-for-profit isn't being funded or something's being changed in the budget. Sometimes we'll get folks who sign up, so 36 is quite a bit for, compared to what we see in terms of people
In a
signing
couple
up
of months,
for
yeah,
our
I would say.
workshops and public hearings as well.
Did we push this out to the public to make them aware? We did, and that's why we got the 36.
So Stratcom does posts, but they also do videos every year. They do a This is Balancing Act and go through like a little short video on what the tool is, how you can engage. This year we asked them to add something like, please hit submit, because a lot of people view it, but not a lot of people actually hit the submit button. And so, we got more than we got last year, but still, we'd love to have a higher volume of submissions.
Have you all thought about incorporating some of the videos, from these meetings? Because I think with people being able to watch, your presentation on the budget, the departmental presentations, maybe having a link there, the police, here's the link to the watch that video. Because I think without the context, people may not understand the full ability of the system. Does that make sense?
It does, and so this year we tried something new on, when you go to fortlauderdale.gov/budget, there's a window or a widget that says budget engagement opportunities. And we actually have all of your videos are part of that budget engagement. We have a list of when we'll have public hearings, we have links to this tool. We have links about the various meetings where departments did their department reviews. So we tried to compile all of that information in one place with an easy to remember address, fortlauderdale.gov/budget, just to really try another way of engaging the public in the budget process.
I'm thinking though, even within there is their ability to link right into like under the police, you know, when you're looking at the police budget, here, click this link to watch the presentation, you know what I mean? Cause then
Specific.
it gives a very like, cause
It's not a 2-hour
I mean, like,
meeting.
if you ever have to go look back at commission meetings, I'm like, oh god, I gotta go back looking through, you have to look through like hours and try to find what you're looking for specifically. But if you, I know it's a little bit work on the city's end, but right when the videos are produced, there might be an opportunity to just clip it, snip it, put it in there so that it's available, cause that would be really meaningful if I'm looking at, you know, one of the departments and then I click on the video and it has the presentation from that department.
Or give a time of the video when the police
Yeah.
come or whatever.
That's really good feedback.
I have a question. Who's posting? We have a social media team, I'm assuming?
So there are two different ways that we publicize budget stuff. We have really cool analysts in the budget team that actually manage the budget engagement opportunities page. So after every meeting, they're updating the information with the things that you all discussed as well as where we are in the process. The more public facing item is the StratCon team. During budget season, they're posting out like the budget advisory board has begun their budget meetings, and so that's the second part.
Question on that. You see, they're posting it. They're posting it and the followers are getting it. But the city is not. Are we paying for paid ads in social media so that we can actually specify who we wanna hit in the radius of Fort Lauderdale only, a specific demographic and everything, and it's not a lot of money to do that, and now you're reaching everyone.
So we have.
Hi.
I'm Ashley Dussard, I'm the communications director for
Hi.
the city. So we in addition to social media, we do post it on the website. We did send it to our email distribution list, which includes the HOA presidents and everyone who signs up for our emails. We do some paid social media advertising. We had not for this, we could in the future if that's what you wanted to do. Social media advertising doesn't cost that much. It also doesn't give us a huge return on investment when we do it, but
We have 26, if we want 50, we have to do something, right?
yeah.
And the other thing too is how like marketing, this is so common that like, you know, people don't complain until after it happens. So if you had an increase in the taxes, then everyone would wanna complain about it. So like there's like having people understand that maybe there's an opportunity, like taxes could go up, you could influence that. Like, you know, like that people actually, you know, I mean, like not scare tactics, but you,
Love it, Norman.
your input could help us save taxes. I mean, like when people
Or
start
make
to
the
think
right
about it, 'cause
decisions,
So,
you know, we do get a lot of complaints after we do the things, right? But it's hard to get them engaged in before, so. But I love the tool, I mean, it's amazing, and being able to capture that detail is fantastic, so.
Let me ask you, when you send out the initial communication of the tool, not opening up the tool, but just your distribution, what is the total number?
what is the audience?
What is the audience number? And then you're able to tell how many click or opens from that audience.
Yes, I can look that up for you in here. And then we should be able to you can see how many people go to the page versus how many actually submitted.
Right, yeah, so in this case, it was 1,300 as a
Page views.
page view.
Yes, but what we're trying to promote, if I may, is engagement. If you were gonna do democracy, direct democracy, which is the idea, more transparency, more accountability from the city, we engage our citizen residents, we have to put the means behind it, otherwise it's a beard. I mean, at that scale, we're 180,000 residents. If we don't get more engagement, I mean, I don't know about eyeballs, but having worked in marketing for a long time, and not only social media, the return is pathetic. compared to the circulation and means that the city has to propagate that message. So if we really want not to, have a pretext and have a nice shiny little thing, but really get input and feedback from our residents, I would say let's put the means behind it, and it should be a strategic push, and maybe continuously, maybe have a plan, a communication plan, a marketing plan behind it, not just once in July or August. And second, I would suggest that maybe the tool needs to be maybe simplified to be more playable for people who are not necessarily educated about balancing act, even at their household scale. And no disrespect to anybody. But I find it as a BAB member very interesting. I have a background, I think it's interesting and I can play with it, and I understand from my position at the BAB, certain things can be changed, like the fire assessment or whatever. But not everybody has that background, so I think making it simpler maybe, and still seeking more engagement from our residents would make this tool meaningful. Otherwise, it's just something we have done every once in a while for 7 years, and I see it as a gadget. So that's my position.
I also think it's a great tool for the budget advisory board.
Totally.
Like I think at least like the requirement for part of the budget advisory board, we should be
Absolutely.
we should each submit something, because I mean it's very valuable. I mean I went through it, I didn't submit, but you know what I mean? Like I know, but I think you did a great job. I was like, okay, I'll play with this, play with that. It was like minor. But I think that could be a great tool, to leverage here, and then maybe start marketing it to the HOAs earlier and say it's coming, and this is your opportunity to have influence over where we spend our money,
That's awesome.
Thank you. So.
Yeah, we will work on that next year.
So I do have the numbers here for you. It was sent out to approximately 5,298 people. We had a 42% open rate on it. And 79 people clicked on it from the email that we sent.
What's a big number? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
5,000.
A little over 5,200 people received the email. 42% opened it.
Okay. Social media?
Social media was sent out. We have, I believe, 40,000 followers on Instagram, something like 45 to 50,000 on Facebook.
What are the clicks?
The clicks, I'll have to look up the analytics on that. It'll take.
That's gonna be interesting.
So
Not just the
I have a-
emails, the social media.
Engagement.
And that's what I mean.
Engagement counts.
Find out if there's actual engagement there.
Email return is really generally difficult.
Yeah.
I mean,
But they got, okay. It's good though, it's a good start.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, out of 180,000 residents, only
5,000
5,200
emails.
only 5,200 people have signed up for
Correct.
city communications.
What about a larger, and anybody who works in a large corporation, we have emergency contact lists. Have we ever tried to connect with our residents and update emergency contacts for everyone in the city? And therefore, we would have a lot more emails.
database.
Well,
red
we
flag,
have-
is that what you're talking
Something.
We have an alert notification system called Alert FPL, which we ask people to sign up, but those are for emergency notifications, it's not for general.
And it couldn't be for a tool like that. I mean,
But
it's a.
Our police department and fire departments also use it for emergency notifications, we don't use that for.
But if we actively, as a city, proactively send out an email or whatever to these 5,000, start there, or promote it on social media and start building that database, the future is gonna be a lot easier to communicate with.
Yes, we
People.
have a plan in place. We're gonna be doing a major push to increase our subscriber base here in the next 6 to 8 months. We're doing a website redesign, and that will include signups, pushing signups for emails and for SMS messaging as well, because right now we don't have the ability to send, we send alerts, emergency alerts through text message. We don't send general messages through text messages, but that's something that we're gonna be adding here in the next couple months.
I would ask the president of the council of the, for like the civic associations, how we can use this database, maybe. What kind of resources can we?
Our
People have to
database
opt
is.
in for all of that.
Yeah, you gotta opt in, you can't just take
Right.
switch places.
So let's proceed with the presentations.
I think we have a lot more than 5,000 emails in all of our databases within the city. We have to. So that's just my.
Does that include all the district commissioners too?
Yes. Well, it doesn't include their personal subscriber base. So for me as a city government to send you an email, I have to have your permission. I can't just send an automated message.
Does the commissioner have to have permission?
Yes.
Okay, so then they've given us permission.
Well, I'm not sending my messages. We share it with the commission so that they can share it in their newsletters.
And
Got
they, and I
Yes.
And they do,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they have.
Alright, so looking at the 102 hours, or actually 317 hours of active engagement in community involvement. Respondents explored the trade-offs between revenue expenses and funding priorities. Responses were received from all 4 commission districts, with District 2 showing the highest number of segregation. Alright, so looking at the revenue adjustment submissions and overall support for increasing property taxes evenly split among respondents. Most submissions did not include edits to the fire assessment. A couple of respondents did recommend lowering the assessment. And some of the comments we received regarding fire assessment property tax. There was a preference for funding the fire services through property taxes to allow for federal tax deductions. There's some suggestions to replace the fire assessment fee with property taxes to reduce resident and local business tax burden and improve fairness. A comment under rates and royalties, there was a concern that developers receive excessive incentives without providing adequate benefits.
Aren't the fire assessments already in our tax bill, so it would be?
They're on the
Yes.
tax bill, but they're the below the line things, so they're technically they're not tax deductible. I'm assuming a lot of people just take the whole bill and do it, itemize.
Yeah.
The fees that are non-ad valorem are not tax deductible.
Is that something the city could do? Could you add it to they just talking add it to the property tax as okay, that's.
So, real quick, to take away what I see, I think we need to do a better job of communicating to our residents what the fire assessment fee is, how it was created, what is its intent, and how it's used. Cause I think people don't understand what that assessment fee is. In essence, it is a tax, but it's why it was created, the way it was created, and how it's being utilized as full cost recovery. So I think going forward, if there's a feeling from city staff that maybe we could communicate it better so people truly understand that.
To echo this, I would say it looks like this tool could be more educational than it is if we simplify it and bring more learning rather than being a 36 responded on submissions, a tool that we're gonna say, oh, what our residents are thinking is. It's 36 out of 1,000 is not representative in any poll scientific basis.
Well, maybe it's like half of that because it's residents, so it's a little bit better. Not households.
Like have like an e-learn.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Absolutely. I see more that potential right now, unless the city decides to make it a real, polling tool, democracy, live. But we need to do much better in terms of engagement, not only reaching eyeballs and reading, but playing with it. And I think the simplification of that tool, as a board member here, I find this tool interesting. We should all being, fluent in that and play with it and even share our different insights among each other. And bring a recommendation or some ideas to the office and the city manager's office. But I think for the moment, it needs to be simplified. I think you'll find that you'll get more engagement and more educational through that lens.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that
a good percentage of residents are just they're not gonna go in. I went on, like Thorby, I looked, but I didn't submit. And I think you'll probably find that a lot of people are gonna do that. They don't feel comfortable going through line by line and adding and taking away, but I do like his idea of adding a video to where under the so, maybe it's Raquel standing there saying, this is what the fire assessment is, so people understand what it is, but they may not, fully be doing the application in terms of, I don't know, I mean, I look at how many people go out and vote, right? It's a low turnout, so the idea that someone's gonna sit and go through a whole budget line item by line item, the percentage is probably pretty small.
But if the goal is to educate or help understanding, even without submission or recommendation,
Agreed.
it's
They have to
already a
want to,
win
though.
for us.
It is, but they have to want to. But it doesn't mean we don't try, doesn't mean we don't try
Yeah,
better,
but
do a
by
better job.
having-
We should have more than,
You didn't know of
5,000.
that tool,
I knew about it,
Okay,
I've been on it,
okay.
not recently,
Okay.
like 4 years ago.
I do think there's some other good feedback though in a couple of these slides. Even though it's a small number, there's good
I agree with you,
feedback.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting in the tax.
I don't think it's a bad idea to bring it forward in this committee to allow all of us to do it in June or in July, as soon as it's ready to go. And then I'll, bring it to the table and everyone should discuss it. I think it's a great idea.
Looking at the expense adjustment suggestions, residents express support for safety, works, strengthening finance operations, no support for increasing finance adjustment.
The public speaks.
Little support for improving transfers in this area.
So if you go back, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You go back one slide, and the last one, we're in here, we spent hours talking about this. I don't think that played any role at all in the decision that was made, that the residents show little support for it. Am I wrong?
Do they
Right.
understand it though? I think that's, I think, cause that's the thing, I don't know if they understand that piece of that. That's where, I think maybe back to education, maybe there's a.
How many of them actually explained or commented on why they thought
Right.
so little
Right.
for the CIP?
So the point is, having this is great, but are we using it? That's why I asked those questions before. Have we ever actually taken advice from a resident and it actually happened?
And what a little bubble or pop-up that explained what the CIP does.
Right.
And how it does it and why it does it that way in its special bucket.
A little
Even if I learned that,
That
this
little
is
eye right
score,
there.
this is score, even if there is no submission.
You bring up excellent points.
Yep.
I think because it's perception, someone hears community investment projects, well, they think, oh, non-for-profit, maybe it's something that invests
know what
in
they're asking.
community organizations, not the city's capital infrastructure. I think it's a lack of apathy of the residents to put bring up excellent points to really truly understand what the CIP is.
Well, there was a conflict too, I think one said strong recommendation to significantly increase the CIP, and this one said not strong to transfer money, so I think that's maybe just the understanding of how the money works and why, so. I think back to the point though, I think it could be a good tool for education too. If you put it all in one place, you say, hey, here's your everything for budget, learn about the budget, have your feedback.
Quick question, city manager, was there such a tool for the city you worked for previously?
What, man?
No. It's how many cities have that kind of tool accessible to residents?
I'm not sure.
I think it's a very leading edge tool, but I think we need to
Implement
do
it.
better.
Yeah, but one thing we really have to keep in mind, most human beings don't want to deal with numbers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth, here we are, we think, wow, why doesn't everybody want to be so interested? Come on, let's face the truth.
That's not a reason for not trying.
Correct.
No, I'm not saying don't try, but let's not have over expectations as to what you think you can do with it.
Out of 7 years in this room, probably 5 people have come forward from the public, if that.
But remember, there are resources allocated to that, the development of that tool. The resources, Stratcom is pushing it, community organization, the council. So if we are doing that, all of that time, all that energy should lead to a result. Maybe education is the result, not the engagement. or the expectation of engagement are at a certain level, educational is the other. It's all about objectives, really.
But there's something else also, which is that, especially being on the board for last 6 years, when the board says something, let's do it, and when the commission doesn't do it, which is consistent year in and year out, it is very debilitating. Now, the community says do it, let's say they understand that last point about community investment plan thoroughly, because we came back also as a board saying, don't do it. So there is this check and balance there. I mean, we get carried away because we are finance people. So I'm saying, not saying don't educate.
With a caveat, remember the question from Mayor Trent Ellis to our president at the previous city commission workshop. How many page views do you have on the board
Website.
videos?
Yeah.
So it was very insignificant.
It is.
Compared to the expectation of the mayor. So I think, I'm not sure it would be taken as a real representative poll and pulse of the commission.
Yeah, but if we had to raise the millage rate this year, we'd have people knocking down the door. Like that's, I mean,
That's
that's,
for sure.
you know, so I think this is a good tool to have to use because at some point we are gonna have challenges, you know, and I think that this is a way that we can leverage it to get feedback. We can say, did you use the tool?
But let's be serious about it.
If I may add just one additional point of information, so yesterday is when the trim notices were mailed. So all of this engagement has occurred before folks even receive their trim notices to let them know if the property tax was proposed to be increased or the fire assessment was proposed to be increased. So we may see an uptick once folks receive their notices this week. We can provide you an update and let you know.
Does it guide them to the, like on the notice, does it?
No, but it does, if you go to the budget site on
Okay.
the city, and we also, our trim information that describes the tax bill is on the budget
That would
website
be a
as
good
well.
place to market this, cause everyone gets
For
it,
sure.
and you can say, you know, don't like what you see,
Yeah.
here, go to the website.
Go play with us.
And I mean, people are like, what, my taxes are going up this much here?
Let's show you where it all is.
You'll
With this
get
button.
people, definitely, I think that's a good marketing tool. If you don't like it, come give us feedback, you know?
Full scaring strategy.
Perhaps the auditor.
Question, and maybe Laura, you would know best, just, you know, we're talking about public engagement and obviously we have a lot of folks, you know, in the community who are very engaged on almost every level, every meeting, but they're not here at this meeting. And I don't think it's just because of the timing. So I'm curious though, where do some of these, our most vocal people in the community express you know, concerns about the budget? Do they actually, would you say last year, you know, go in front of commission and talk about aspects of the budget? Or is this an area really that it's just, they don't find us as accessible as the other topics that, you know, are hot button things? And do our residents not typically like go to the commission and make public comment when we get to the when we, like in September when they're approving?
Well,
I think it depends on the year. So in the year we implemented a new stormwater assessment, we received a lot of feedback because that was something we hadn't previously had on the bill. When you see an incremental change, I think folks understand inflation happens, there's, you know, incremental increases in the amount that you pay. When there's something significant, the commission does receive more feedback, or if there's an organization that previously received funding that is not recommended to receive funding, a lot of time through their boards, they solicit support from folks who are supportive of the not-for-profit, and then they come and speak. Those are the main speakers we receive, is if a rate goes up or if a not-for-profit is not funded.
And how much
Just in a-
media engagement has done outreach, news articles, printed media, video, just articles on issues of if there's gonna be an increase in substantial, then people get engaged because they see it.
So there's just an opinion, you go 18 years without a millage increase, quiet people down, right? They're not looking at the other stuff that's going on. And the city has done a great job in saying, no increase. So what does anybody have to say with it? So I think that might have been to our detriment, because you just made a statement, people understand incremental increases. Well, why do we have to keep the millage the same then? If people understand incremental increases, like I think the number was 3.5% on our increase on our salaries across the board. Well, just increase the taxes. We talked about that, it brought in 11 million. People would understand that. So that comment doesn't hold water.
Well, so people are seeing increases in their property tax bill even without raising the millage rate because the taxable value
Yeah, but we
is
don't tell them.
increasing.
We only tell them, hey, the millage didn't go up.
That's,
Right, but
yeah,
we
that's.
smile, but that's the reason why we don't have engagement.
So I'd like to keep
Yeah.
going to keep on track, thank you.
Thanks.
But it's all good discussion, so we can work on for next year.
We had some of the comments for transportation and mobility. There was a request to increase the going driver wages and to improve the bus frequency. There was a suggestion to expand the Beats Los Ola service to operate daily. There's positive feedback on Lauderdale's transit system as compared to Broward County. For the community services departments, there was a recommendations prioritizing impactful business solutions using all discretionary resources to deploy allocating public funds for art installations as developers already implementing projects, to reduce spending on studies, consultants, and focus on implementing actions. Some more comments include for police, there was a suggestion to request a free maintenance package for developers responsible for delays and cost overruns due to headquarters covering the first 2 years of operation.
It's pretty specific. I mean, it's a great comment.
Somebody.
For other government operations, there was a strong recommendation to significantly increase the CIC funding, citing urgent needs, traffic calming, sidewalks, infrastructure improvements, and suggesting prioritizing city improvement programs for staffing. There's also a recommendation to increase the general fund to prepare for potential reductions in federal support and uncertain pollution at the national level. Looking at DSD, there was a recommendation to increase funding for zoning business tax administration to improve efficiency, support development, and promote a more business-friendly environment as members of infrastructure improvements like sidewalks and streets. At the Parks Department, there was opposition for funding for projects like the top of the park. They regularly prioritize basic infrastructure needs, such as building sidewalks and repairing street lights and entrances. So, what did we learn? Balancing acts, economic acts today, resident priorities. Our engagement reflects participants' thoughtful exploration of options, and balancing act is a combination of education, financial transparency, and interaction contribute to the success of what we've seen so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we as board is our tool today, after seeing some of this, how we can improve. I think staff's heard the recommendations. So I think a goal should be between now and next year, how we can even improve it, make it a better tool. Okay. Moving along.
I just have a question, will we keep the tool open past September 30, just so that people can play around, you know, the budget's passed?
We leave it up year round,
Okay.
so we launch it in July, but it stays up until we're releasing the next budget. And sometimes we have like different school type events and we set up a special site for those participants, so if we're holding a workshop and we'll set up something specific for those groups so that they can, you know, play around with the tool as well. It's great.
As a member, and not to dwell too much on this, but on those takeaways that were on those previous slides, I would love to know how many people responded out of the 36 saying that or this or that. Because if it's 2, or if it's 6, or if it's 17, that's not the same. And I urge everybody to keep those numbers in mind. They're not representative, it's not a poll, there's nothing scientific here. So let's not run on those ideas, oh, the public thinks, or the colonialism thinks. It's not significantly representative enough to take those things away. Not saying that we discard them, but let's put them into context.
Good point.
Thank you. Moving along, everyone should have received. And
Read it twice.
in the interest of time, I was going to, since this is my first year as chair, I was going to have each one of you take one of the chapters and give me
That's an excellent idea.
Let me open up
Let's
my
start with him.
let me open up my AI app. Just scan a couple of pages.
Assignments or not.
I can speak.
President, I can tell you that I already gave a feedback to Laura and the Office of Management about a mistake that I noticed on the print version. And I think it's useful for everybody to know, not there is a mistake, every mistake, but it's something that really puzzled me when I read it, and I'm hoping that you would share with the board members.
Yeah, so it was oh, sorry, go ahead. So it was included in this week's materials. On the online version, it is correct, so as we printed it online, when we initially posted it online, there was some mix-up when it was sent to the print shop that the version included on the ad valorem revenue section. It had a history of the ad valorem revenue from various years, and the numbers there were not accurate. And
It's in
so,
the budget in brief.
yes, so you all received it in an email, in the event that you wanted to compare what the online version is versus the print version. Apologies for that. I take full responsibility as the acting director at the time, but it was a tweak in the printed version. It did not get posted online in that manner.
It's a big task, so you're allowed to make mistakes.
No, it's an important, it's not about the accountability of the mistake, everybody makes mistakes. It's really about the importance of those numbers in terms of debt services, millage rate, operating, and how they make sense in their evolution over the years.
Absolutely,
Especially when we are gonna approach fiscal year 2020.
absolutely.
So now that we've had the opportunity to look at it, study it, we've had the presentations, and the presentation proposed budget with the city manager gave us an overview, increasing the number, size of departments, and feedback from that and everything. We have to make a formal recommendation next week to the city commission. Do we support or not support the city's managers?
What was the number on housing again? 10? Did we get a 10? Did we get our numbers yet on the taxes? We did.
Yeah,
I thought I saw it was like 10 something, wasn't it?
the increase was 17 million. It's an 8.15% increase in assessed value.
And I think Stantec is 6, right? Across the board.
6 or 6.5.
They initially started at 6.5.
It's a good surprise.
Well,
It generally
it's not as good as of a surprise that we've had over the last couple of years.
Those
that's
years
the
are
problem.
gone.
Well.
So,
Okay.
You don't know.
and with that, that 8.15% increase in assessed value, that equates 17 million.
Yes.
However, the increase in salaries and benefits
11.
was 23 million.
Oh. Salary and benefits,
Benefits.
not just salary.
Fringe benefits.
Yeah.
So there's a deficit there, but because of additional revenues coming in from other areas,
Which, if you allow me, President, to further your point, I was curious as to why in this group this year, we didn't have any, in the long-term financial plans, any mention of anything about the projection from Stantec. 2025 included those projections, and also the differential between the revenue and the operating expenses. It's not present in the long-term financial. Is there a reason why we didn't include it?
Absolutely, so we don't include it in the proposed budget. We include it in the adopted budget, so the 25 version that you have is the
Got it.
adopted budget book. And those are the numbers that we live with, are the information we live with all year long, so we include a lot more robust information in that book, including the long-range financial plan.
So we did make a recommendation to the commission at our last meeting on the ad valorem. No increase. Tonight we have to make a motion of support or not. So I'm just gonna go around the room and ask each member how they feel about the city manager's proposed budget. I'll start with, Lisa, do you have any comments?
I mean, we sat through a lot of, meetings with department heads and I think you know, especially coming in as your first year, I think you did an excellent job really taking a look and a deep dive into each department and I think it's a good budget. I definitely think we're gonna have to look at 27, 28, knowing that there's a potential, according to Stantec, shortfall coming. But yes, but I think overall for 26, I think it's you did a great job.
I would agree, I almost wrote the same note, we need a community education plan for next year to let residents know the potential increases, because I mentioned the small businesses, this has been the worst year for our neighborhood small businesses. The Canadians are not here, tourism was down a little bit, and then I just heard from our neighbor who's a property owner, owns a lot of properties, they're having to reduce rent now. They're having difficulty filling rental spaces. And so I just, that's a little caution for next year, and I think we need to, it was great that we have this year, and I think you did a fantastic job with this budget. I think that, to Melissa's point, we really need to focus on the next year and starting to plan how are we gonna do this if things don't improve, over this year. I also just on a couple things that I noticed here, I had a whole bunch of notes, I'm just looking through real quick. I do love to see that they're investing in the water quality. That's a huge asset for all of us. The water is our number one asset, and I'm glad to see that they're increasing the testing and they're doing some oyster stuff. But I really would also like to see us plan for additional stuff next year, because when we test for things, we're gonna find things wrong. And so really having that mitigation plan for the coming years, because I feel like our waterways, it is our lifeline, and I just feel like we need to be doing a lot more. If you ask any person if it's a water goer, if they'll swim in the intercoastal, they'll say absolutely not. And I think that's a problem, and we really need to start thinking about the future. I know we're doing a lot with Public Works, with the infrastructure, which has been our major concern. But I'm glad to see we are doing the additional testing this year. But just know that we're gonna find things, and that next year we're gonna have to plan for that, for what we're gonna do to help clean up the water. So I commend you, and this year was, I think, was a good year for us. But I just will have to think about planning for next year and using the education tools we have to start educating residents and HOAs too, so thank you.
Ross, since this would be your last.
Yeah, last time, and I will tell you that I think that we have made a mistake by not increasing millage over the last couple of years. We've been saved by the bell a bunch of times. And I personally don't like to run my finances that way, and I don't think that we should as a city either. Looking at that Stantec, it scares the hell out of me. We are gonna be hit. Sooner or later, it's coming, it'll be huge. And there's no way in the world our residents are gonna accept a 75 basis point increase on our millage. That's what Stantec is recommending 3 years out. So I think we made a crucial mistake this year by not increasing millage, but I understand why we didn't. So I think we definitely should increase millage no matter what next year, no matter what happens next year. We're faced with a lot of headwinds, specifically real estate, because that's what saved us. Government money saved us. I know there's some other things out there that may come, may not come, but that's my take on millage. Fees, that was my big thing this year. Look at all the fees, increase them everywhere we can, no matter what. If we don't think that we can increase children's sports by $10, then just give it to them for free. That's my point. Prepare for a decline in real estate taxes, I guess that's and then focus on fire. We have, the thing that scared me the most, that keeps me up, is the chief said, we're not prepared to fight a 40-story fire. And you look outside this building, this window, and you see buildings reaching that height. So that's a huge concern of mine as a owner in the city. That we haven't, thank God, had a massive problem like that, but if we do, are we equipped? I don't think we are. Although we did have the largest class ever this year, fire academy, so personnel may not be a problem. But you coming from that scares me, more than anything. That's all, thank you. But I'm okay with this budget.
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying I'm okay with the budget, great job coming into the new position. And of course you have a great finance department, so it makes it easier to do that, I think. But my main thing is really the millage rate. And no matter how many people we get in town hall meetings in our association, for example, and tell the commissioner, increase their millage rate, increase the millage rate. There are a lot of projects that are getting not done, like sidewalks, for example. And people just don't understand it. And the other thing people don't understand, I remember Ross also when he first came to the meeting, the millage rate, the total taxes, it's only less than 25% of the total bill. So if you do increase the millage rate, it doesn't really impact, it's only 25%. If you follow what I mean. And that's something people don't get. So I think the commission has been responsible, I think, for the last number of years. I don't know why they take such great pride in saying it has been constant for the last 14 years or 17 years.
I agree.
Because it really doesn't do anything for the population. When the population is saying increase it, why isn't the commission listening? And I think part of it is because, and you're new on the job, I know, so part of it is the city management, how should I say, doesn't feel comfortable putting it in the budget and saying, increase the millage rate, and by the way, you'll use these extra funds for some projects that always get pushed out. And I remember once, 2-3 years ago, Public Works came up with a big list of things that needed to be done.
$700 million?
Yeah, $700 million. Issue a bond, whatever, but get things done. And that's the thing that is very, very frustrating and has been for me since I've been on the board. So I wish everybody the best of luck since this is my last year.
So yeah, I'm supporting the budget. I appreciate all of the work that's gone into it, and Raquel, you did a great presentation along with your team, but Laura, like everyone's. But I did appreciate your talking about the new restructuring. So I think one of the things that I'm interested in is to see how things play out with the new restructuring in the city manager's office. I know that I don't think you've hired yet probably the person that's going to be the assistant city manager doing capital projects. So I think that that's a really great idea, and I think that maybe we'll see some movement on the capital projects, that some have been delayed. I know it's been hard for, staff and probably the commission to prioritize everything, so I think this is gonna be a great year to kind of see how the new structure, how things work. I guess, certainly not opposed to increasing the millage rate. I mean, obviously, living downtown in a condo, if we had never raised maintenance fees in 18 years, we'd be in a lot of trouble, so.
But we are raising, our tax bill's
Well, right.
going up, we're hiding it.
We're like
hiding it.
benefiting from the fantastic growth and, marketability and the market prices of an increased development, but there is still an aspect where, just like in condo, like residents understand there's a small percentage increase at times, and I think that the other thing though I would just mention is I appreciate what you all have put in the budget with regards to focusing on the homeless situation, and I'm glad that we are continuing to fund the CRA. So.
I think last meeting I already told you, Miguel, that I thought you improved leadership by the way you approached that budget exercise, your first one. And I'm very supportive of this. Overall, 1.2 billion didn't explode. General fund still increases. However, and to my fellow board members, I think as a budget advisory board, we should be better prepared to work together as recommendation to the city commission. It seems to me that we're coming into a meeting like this one and we have a city commission recommendation next Tuesday. We haven't worked on anything. We haven't had the opportunity of having a meeting between us or among ourselves and exchange viewpoints and concerns. And I think I would like to suggest that we approach the city commission workshop next week by saying we're supportive of this exercise and the new leadership and the new city management for this year. We are, however, very concerned about how we as a city and the city management and the board could work together ahead of the calendar to explore more options, including millage rate increase or being stable, maybe budget balancing act, ways that we have an approach. And I feel that having joined this board this year, we should be more interactive and more prepared to work as a group, internally as a BAB, exchanging more point of view and down to the wire and specific issues. And then coming with the city staff to work on a recommendation that we feel comfortable with. So putting a motion forward today for Tuesday, I think is a bad way of working or not the most productive. I would urge the president and my fellow board members, I would urge you to consider that maybe we approach 2027 in a different way of working and having more city commission workshop preparation amongst us with city staff ahead of May when the budget comes in. And I think if we don't have a meeting in October, November, December, maybe we should come better prepared, anticipating the challenge of 2027. It's gonna be a crucial, pivotal budget. And I think we should do our work and prepare ourselves to come to the city commission with solid recommendation, with maybe presentation of alternate solutions. I tried in my modest position as a newbie 3 months ago to do that with a very, very detailed presentation. And the feedback was it's too late. I'd like not to hear that next time, and I'd urge that we establish altogether a process of working starting in December maybe, and trying to find solution and recommendation to actually resolve that impossible equation. And it doesn't necessarily include increasing the millage rate, it might also include budget cuts, reallocation, but we can't explore that if we don't work together and exchange more ideas under the supervision and facilitation of staff. But it seems to me that we would be more productive and would have a stronger voice and influence towards the city commission if we did that. So I've noticed that we had 3 workshops in the previous calendar, one in end of March, one in mid-April, and then end of June. So we had 2 workshops ahead of the budget presentation. I think we should have and put together in the calendar for fiscal year 2027 at least 3 or 4 workshops among ourselves to present to the city commission. Some of them could include also maybe an exercise that shows the budget of a household, an average household, and how the millage rate can impact them in terms of budget, how the city operational budget increase already impact them. I'm talking about utilities, garbage. I mean, all the increases I saw in this book are really worrisome for me, and I'm not worried about my budget, I'm worried about an average middle class resident or fixed income resident that I meet in my community and other districts. How do they balance their budget? In light of this increase, and now we're talking about a millage rate increase suddenly, you're gonna have a problem with residents. So maybe we need to have a bigger picture and prepare more seriously about alternatives that we would put towards the commission when we do those workshops and be more solid in terms of recommendation. That would be my wish for 2027.
Just on the, just real 2 seconds. It always feels like we don't have the right amount of time. We have to deal with the sunshine laws, so it's not like we can just have workshops.
It will be still supervised and
It
public.
has to be noticed properly, right? And then finally, I would just say that your ambition is there. It all makes a lot of sense. I don't think you're gonna get what you need to get because you need to speak with every department and dig in deep. You can't just go from an outside, well, this department, you really need to dig in deep to try to scrape up the savings that you're trying to make. Additionally, we don't get packages until April. Finally, we don't get millage until when?
June 1st.
So Ross, it's not because I have ambition and I think it's not because of your experience that we shouldn't try. I'm proposing a
I'm with
different approach
Yeah.
and a different agenda, a different work session calendar that would enable us to have more preparation, be more solid as a group, to have a more credible recommendation towards the city commission. Either we take our role seriously and we do the work and we do it together under the management and guidance of city staff, which I really appreciate and I want that to be part of the conversation. But I think we're not prepared enough and not interactive enough to have a real impact towards the city commission and towards the budget. That's my takeaway after 9 months on this budget advisory board. And I encourage you to do it, to have the ambition for our residents who are gonna react very strongly if there is a millage rate increase without alternative options presented.
So with that, first of all, I think is there consensus to support some of the comments that was made that I would propose that we set the November meeting, call it a FAB workshop, internal workshop with OMB and the FAB with discussing strategic goal setting and helping to develop the work plan for 2027.
We do that in November?
Or 2026 work plan.
Chair, if I may.
We talk.
So the budget advisory board terms are 1-year terms and they go through September 30th, which is why we typically discuss the work plan in the month of October. So the new appointees will come on board, we'll have 3 vacancies.
Yeah.
And so we can put that on the work plan, but typically what we'll do is when we have the board in place in the month of October, we'll do the elections and then we'll set the work plan or discuss the work plan in the month of October. We can certainly change that, but I'm just letting you know that that's why the cadence is
You say
typically
November.
I'm saying November.
November, yeah.
So that fits into that
So-
picture.
Yeah, we can do it in November, so
Well, I
elections in October, work plan November.
If they get reappointed in either late September or
Yeah.
early October, we're gonna have to, in October, use it to orientate them,
Okay.
members, because we're definitely gonna have at least 2 new members.
Isn't the problem though that most of us weren't even here till January, you were
No,
in
but
January.
Ross is off,
I've been
and then,
reappointed.
and then we're gonna have a replacement for Mildred coming on, and that might not be until after, I don't know when that will be. So that's gonna be at least 2 new members coming, so I would propose, we can either, I'll
Right.
work with you October, but I think November might be better.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
give us an
November.
opportunity
It's
to
early,
digest.
it's earlier than previous sessions.
And we've also taken the comments that were made, and Laura was making notes, I'm gonna incorporate, work from the staff between now and Tuesday, those comments. I'm hearing everyone very clearly, and I agree with everything that was said around this table. I mean, we have discussed, this millage issue, and it's gonna come to a head. And it's gonna be a tough pill for this community to swallow.
President, could we actually, in the motion, could we have a motion today towards a communication for next week, the city commission, saying and putting a stance on, we support this budget. Our concern is about how we approach fiscal year 2027.
I don't think that needs to be included in the motion, it could be included in my talking points.
Okay.
However, we can't, the millage rate has been set. Okay, we've said that.
Start.
I agree.
Communication.
Accolades, Cal, the team, I've said it many times. And Ross, when you talked about fire, I totally agree, but I don't wanna leave fire on home now. We're faced with increase in population, especially downtown.
Police too.
We're gonna have to.
100%.
We're gonna have to add the police, create a fourth, if they're proposing a fourth
Proposing
district.
it, yeah.
You just can't create a fourth district and pull from the other three.
Correct.
That accomplishes nothing. So police is going to be faced with some of the same issues.
Yep.
And, with personnel and technology, cost of technology,
So,
so you combine all that.
To Olivia's point, we can come up with some great ideas, and we have. And then we bring them to the commission and they get squashed. So I'm with you, man.
But that's our job.
I got it. Put 100 hours in, get what you need to get. I love it. We gotta make sure that they accept our advice. That's all.
I think there's a credibility issue
Okay.
with the amount of work and the solidity of our
I disagree.
workshop.
I disagree.
Preparation.
But good luck.
I don't think it is that.
I disagree.
It's really nothing to do with that.
Let's see.
The
We're gonna
commission does
verify,
what the
let's check.
commission,
I think
the
we
commission
need
does
to
what the
encourage
commission wants.
HOA presidents to participate and come and observe.
That's another thing. Like I said before, we've had under a handful over the time we've been here of community people coming here asking questions. And we need some of that too as a board so that we can bring it to the commission and say, look, we don't have any of that. So it's just us in the room. So I love it.
You
Yes.
had a comment.
I appreciate all the feedback. I think there's a lot of value to this discussion. Just as a reminder, you've already given us some homework to do. We already plan to come back to you in the fall to talk about opportunities to generate revenue and some of those strategies. You've asked us to take a look at the new departments and what the goals and deliverables will be, and we would like to, share more of that with you. We'll start on that next week at the joint workshop. And we also have a significant budget amendment plan for October that will help us as we navigate plans for fiscal year 27. We wanna push forward some projects that would make it a little bit easier for us to get through the 27 budget. So we have taken note. We do know that we have some assignments that are in the queue, and we wanna engage with you further throughout the year so that we can have everything baked by the time that we're in the throes of the 27 budget process.
I also see this as a platform too for you all to present all the work, the hard work that you're doing. So like there's a lot of, I have trust that you guys are doing the job you do. So when you present here, that a lot of these things have been vetted. I know you know this. So I think there's that that this is an opportunity for you to present and to present to people who are from the community who can give feedback. So I love that. I think back to that tool that we're using, the budget, I think that's a great tool. Use us. We could start utilizing that and maybe requiring the budget advisory board. That's where we provide the detailed feedback. That's where you can really get granular.
I think that's a great addition.
It does, and if nothing else, for the budget advisory board group to use it and submit,
And I think new members of budget advisory also would get a
They should
speed,
do the
they
training.
would speed right up
Training,
and understand where all the money is. Yeah, I think
Because
that's great.
the whole point of us being here, we're representing different districts, so we are and are supposed to be the voices from our districts, so it is part of us to seek those times when we have our commissioners and say, hey, can you please make sure you send this out, maybe it's getting buried in newsletters and other things, that this is an important thing to bring into the top, so we have a role too, to help get that out and get the feedback from our residents, so.
I do have a question. I have a question which is, how shall I phrase this? Is the city manager allowed to propose a budget that says there should be a millage increase? Or, which happen normally, they get kind of guidance from the commission saying, this is what you're supposed to do. It's a serious question, I know I'm kind of making it.
The answer is, I hope so.
Yes.
And therefore, that really, it's like, for example, I'm comparing it like as a corporation. So you have the board of directors, which is the commission. And you have the chief executive.
I would want to definitely have the support of the BAB and the commission, but if we are proposing a military increase to support our anticipated expenditures, then
That's
there's
not gonna work.
Right, exactly,
But
exactly.
Stan Tech is not anticipated expenditures, that is coming. We have no way out,
Okay.
so.
So my only other comment was, I know you mentioned November, I think it's great, but just in all of the things, I love your comments, Olivier, about being more prepared. I love the idea of really engaging the community more, and each of us can probably up our efforts on that. I was just wondering, like, I think we should be meeting at 12 months of the year. I think we should have a meeting in October and December. Because essentially, those are valuable opportunities to move some of this stuff forward that we're talking about. And I think, though, like you said, Lori, we wanna be strategic about what those meetings would entail, but you know, it could be far beyond the general, like, you know, cookie cutter stuff that we've been doing. Perhaps those are opportunities to really think out of the box.
Technically, we do have meetings scheduled October, November, December.
We always cancel it, we always cancel it.
Put it to the calendar.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was last year.
Yeah, we cancel them.
Happened in
So you always cancel
September,
it.
last
So,
September.
to your point, keep them on the books and then meet and start creating a work plan.
By ordinance, it's on the books.
Okay.
Okay, but what happened typically was in September, the chair, they can ask for a motion to cancel the October, November, December. But
I have to.
I can tell you that I've had enough feedback from this board, we will be keeping October, November, December. So I'll work with staff to figure out the calendar as far as the agenda.
So then, to your point, Melinda, I anticipated if we were going further down that road, as a consensus, that not only being prepared before December, before the new year, before January, but even having lab meetings, workshop preparation after we see the revenue projection. Make us, Ross Camarata gave us a great review of the declining fee and revenue 6 months ago. It was already too late to react and to actually go towards a comment and a proactive a workshop with city staff to address that challenge. Let's not reproduce that same pattern. So let's be more prepared. So I had some initially, even in February and March, we could get more meetings in between. It's a commitment from our members, but that's where it matters because we have all the data with the presentation from the heads of department with their budgets. And I think now it's taking shape. We have elements to review. In November, December, we don't have much material. It's really projections. So I think we should do both, being prepared earlier, but also have more sessions when it counts.
But
In February, March, April.
But I still have a question. This is where it's all very nice to do this, but like Ross mentioned, one of the other people, two very important issues. The fire department, with 40-story building, that's a real thing. And the police, with all the population increases. So I don't know who gives us the guidance that, hey, you police department and hey, you fire department, I want you guys to make sure you're addressing it in your budgets. And if it has to increase, it has to increase. And if that means you have to increase millage rate, then millage rate has to increase. That kind of direction is what really matters in the end. And the question is, who provides that?
So
Who provides that? Not the budget advisory board, because we are advisory to the budget.
Understood, and I think we go through that exercise, with each department, meeting with the budget team, and I can tell you that every department, that put forth proposals this year, most of those proposals were recommended. And part of that is because we had a pretty good year. Every year we won't be able to do that. So my expectation is that departments are putting forward requests that are essential to the delivery of services. And so if our fire department is saying that we're not able to address a 40-story fire, and there's not something being requested to address that, then I think that's a disconnect. But I do know that our fire department and every other department this year was able to get some of the essential things that they've been needing for very many years. So I appreciate that, and we will always bring to you our, what keeps us up at night. And I think our job on the management side is to assess all of the needs and try to determine, hey, is this something that we can't do without making an impact to the millage rate, or cutting something else in order to make sure that we have that. So
It's just hard to be proactive when we are only reactive.
This is all great discussion. And looking at next month's, I think it all falls right in with next month. Talk about getting feedback for this budget package meeting format for 2026. We want to update the recommendation matrix and the calendar. So I think we need to pick up this discussion next month and have it prepared going into October, November, December. So with that, to keep on track,
Can I just ask one question, sorry? If you are anticipating more public input, like you're talking about HOA presidents, this is a tight room. I mean, I don't know where you would put 5 more people in here. So you may wanna consider, if you're thinking that you are gonna have more public engagement, being able to host the meeting somewhere that can,
and
10 or 20 more people, I don't know, if
Every board has the same problem, like, they don't have the participation, I think, but yeah, but that would be good.
Condos, you have a meeting downstairs, no one
But if
comes.
that's the goal,
It's downstairs, just come downstairs.
I think we needed the discussion, should these be televised live? I keep hearing that a lot. And there's a conflict of our schedule with P and Z, but then last month and tonight there wasn't, so we have to figure that out.
That would be good.
And I would like to have that discussion.
That would be good too.
So going back, is there a motion on to accept city manager's proposed budget for fiscal year FY 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Ross. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bells?
Yes.
Ms. Falco? Yes. Mr. Pale?
Aye.
Mr. Conrad?
Yes.
Ms. Malloy? Yes. Mr. Patel?
Yes.
And Chair Green?
Yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, Chair, I did have one more quick thing, just for the, in preparation for the commission workshop. If we're gonna do these accelerated meetings, we need to encourage the commission to get their appointees for the replacements in
Soon
right
as
away, because sometimes that's the lag, like we don't get the positions filled until January.
I'll make a recommendation to my commissioner of a couple of people I know.
Okay.
So we get it going.
Or I think, or someone put that up and I'll put that as a talking point. If there's any other talking points between now and Tuesday that you feel is burning desire, please email those to Charmaine. That would be the correct representative.
Yes.
And then she can get those to staff and to me, and we can incorporate those.
Perfect.
just wanted to say thank you. I didn't want to get ahead of the motion and the vote, but I really appreciate all the support for our entire team throughout this process. Thank you to the office of the budget, Flora, Parth, Keith, everyone, all of our department directors who contributed to this process. It's very meaningful. It really gave me an opportunity to learn so much about everything that we do here, all of our highs, our lows, our challenges, and so I really feel like I came to the city at the right time so that I can be immersed in this process. And I feel like I've learned a lot from you and your perspective, and as well as from the team, and I was able to share my perspectives and incorporate it into this budget. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Very good.
And Chair, a
sorry to interrupt, but we had one more new department director that came in, so I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Ron McKenzie, the director of our Information Technology Services Department.
Good luck, thank you.
Good luck.
I look forward to seeing you at future meetings. And one thing I might suggest, I don't know if any of you watched our take meetings on YouTube, but the sound quality in this room is horrible. So that needs to be addressed to have better microphones.
I made that feedback after my first remote meeting 2 months ago. I mean, not only sound, but also seeing who's talking. I mean, I could hear Chris Cooper barely and I couldn't see him. So I didn't know if it was Chris Cooper. And there were other examples, it was
Just
really
AI.
awkward.
AI.
He might have owls.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's owls, I think. It's that.
Camera.
There's that one down there, I think
So
that
the
one's on.
clerk's office is doing a review of this room and exploring options to enhance it. Olivier provided some really good feedback about some options that may enhance those services. So I know that that's a review that they're completing.
Okay, good. There's nothing
I
else.
just very mundane question, I think it goes to the finance department. Quite some time back, we talked about how we charge fees for credit cards and so on the utility bill. But we had specifically excluded ACH. Nobody charges for ACH. Why are we charging for ACH?
We're not charging for ACH.
Yes, yeah,
No, we're not.
absolutely, $1.06, I see.
Oh, it is?
Every month.
Maybe that's a transaction fee from your bank.
No, on the bill. I should show my bills for the last. No, there are two things. One, they say you should go look at next month's bill, I can show. It
Send it
shows
to
very
Susan.
clearly that for the credit card, it can go up 3.5% of whatever the thing is. And then minimum $6, and it says very clearly ACH.
We'll look at Susan's bill and Susan's bill will let us know whether or not.
I thought that was changed, but I will take a
It
look
might
at
be a
that.
typo, but they're not charging.
Oh, they're not charging? But it adds up, to my total bill.
Absolutely.
Just come for pulling a check, you'll be all
I
right.
know the answer, I know the answer.
Sorry.
Talk to the side, it's a
Oh,
motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to
I
adjourn.
know the answer.
Fantastic.
It does show
Guys,
up
next
on the email, the charge, when you drive.
So, I told you I sat next to troublemaker tonight, I couldn't do it.
So, you all still set?
We're all set?